What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of the GZ Chop Shop podcast. I am your host, Projektitachi, joined by my good friend and co-host, Warnurse. And this week, we're going to talk about solo leveling. But before you guys get too excited and we get into the episode, a little bit of announcements. Warnurse doesn't like when I say housekeeping. Reminds him too much of the Navy.
I hate that phrase.
So, announcements. So if you guys have not been keeping up with us, first of all, what are you doing? Click that subscribe button right now. If this is your first time with the GZ Chop Shop podcast, thank you for spending some of your time with me. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, click subscribe, turn on notifications. That way you guys know when we put out these episodes. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, click subscribe. That way you also know when we put out new episodes. But we have just launched, well, actually, it's probably been a couple weeks, but this is the first time we're mentioning it on the show. Our newsletter, the GZ Chop Shop Press Play newsletter.
I'm sorry.
Is this your trauma?
Newsletter is like a triggering word for me.
Yeah.
For like 3 years now. It's just, and every time you say, it's the way you say newsletter, and every time you say it the way you say newsletter, I feel like you're kind of like it's a slight towards me. Like I can feel you like you're saying it at me in like kind of a shitty way. Like, hey, remember that time you totally screwed that up?
The newsletter.
So every time you say newsletter, the way you say it, I don't like it. Anyways, whatever. Go ahead.
So yeah, we have launched our newsletter, the GZ Chop Shop Press Play newsletter.
I'm aware of it now.
Where you can get pretty much an update on our latest episodes, news articles, and you can figure out how to get some of these game keys when they come our way. We might be issuing out game keys for you, the listeners. So if you
Which is lucky because he doesn't give me any game keys.
Yeah, I don't give him any game keys. I keep them all. So you guys will get game keys before Warnurse does. I'm just saying.
It's ridiculous.
Subscribe to the newsletter. This is what happens when you mess up the newsletter. You don't get game keys.
I hate newsletters.
But you can sign up on our website, gzchopchoppodcast.com. It is absolutely free. And if you're curious what it looks like before you subscribe, you can check out our newsletter page right there on the website, and it will show you our previous issues all in one place. So go check it out. Everything you want to know about the podcast, future projects, et cetera, will all be in that newsletter. All right. Before Warnurse has a breakdown over the word newsletter, let's roll into one of our favorite anime of all time. Actually, we were both readers of it before it became an anime. I know, Warnurse, you've been like really involved in it, even more so than I have. So let's talk solo leveling.
Man, let me tell you, okay? So I had read the manhwa after you had like introduced me to it long while back. And at the time, it wasn't even finished in English. Like I had to like search the web to like get that. Eventually came out in English. I bought them all, reread them. And then I had heard mixed things about the light novel, like mixed things across the board about the light novel. I have recently read the light novel. I bought the light novels. They're all in English now. I read them, and going into season 2, reading the light novel after reading the manhwa, I got to say, they're tripping. The light novel is the best version. Okay. Now, if you're wanting the picture painted for you of what's happening, there's not like panel per panel, right? But it's written like a novel, right? And it's very descriptive. And there's a lot of like little things, little bits and pieces that are in more detail explained, like reasons why certain things happen or feelings and emotions, just like the way things are described. They're just in much more detail in certain parts that are missing from even the manhwa. And I just thought it was really cool, especially when it comes to like how Jin-woo is feeling as he's changing throughout his journey here, and he gets more and more powerful, and he starts learning more about what he can do and his shadow soldiers. It's portrayed in the manhwa, but it's not as intensely as in the light novel. He's feeling like levels of fear and anxiety through this whole thing. And there's times where he's like, why am I nervous? He like touches his chest. He's like, I feel anxious, or I feel excited, or whatever the case. And so I just thought that stuff was kind of cool. The light novel just kind of touches on that.
I will say one thing I do like about solo leveling that you don't usually see in many other stories of a, similar thread is when the main character comes into a lot of power, and the only other two characters I've seen this with, and they literally, were no longer human, is Rimuru and Ainz, is the change as they lose more of their humanity to become this new being. And
which I had pointed that out in the Overlord novels, is something that's not pointed out in the anime, is how it explains how he's slowly losing his humanity and he's aware of it.
And I think you get to, you see that in solo leveling. And I think the anime has been doing a decent job of portraying it. Usually the other ones with manhwas and mangas and anime, when you see the characters react a certain way, especially for the anime only watchers, when the character's eyes glow or they have a powerful moment, we just get hyped up and you're just like, yeah, oh yeah, he's about to whoop some ass. It's about to get serious. You don't realize what's happening behind the scenes that adds extra layers to what's going on. You just see like jin-woo just coming out and it's like, oh, jin-woo's on the scene. It's about to get real, not realizing that, yeah, on the outside, he stepped on that scene like badass, but what he's really thinking is, this actually might be a tough fight. This S-class hunter actually could give me a run for my money. I'm not quite where I need to be. And all that adds a, more understanding to him as a character overall. And for time, obviously, animes can't show every single thought he's having, but
I'm not bashing the anime. All the anime's fine. I have no problem. I don't expect animes or movies to translate every single little detail.
Yeah.
Of the like, I don't expect perfection. Just copy and paste like best you can and bring it to life, And that's what they're doing. They're bringing it to life. I really they do a good job. I think I've heard some hate, but I think they do a good job of kind of the contrast of like the serious moments and him feeling, whether it's fear, anxiety, or like a piece of him is dying and some of his humanity is going, like he's losing more of his humanity as he gets more powerful and some other human tries to kill him, right? And they contrast that really well with little moments of like just goofy shit. Now, they're not putting it in the anime quite as much as the manga, but I think we're going to start seeing that come out a lot more as stuff starts picking up soon. Because as you know, and if y'all have not watched it or read it, I would just stop right here because I don't want to ruin anything for you guys. So, spoiler alert, I guess.
Yep. Spoiler warning.
So, yeah, whatever. But, he's at the part right now where he's about to get Fang. Okay. And when this episode drops, he's going to have Fang, right? But I got to say, the whole time I laughed about it in the manga or in the manhwa, I laughed about it watching anime. The whole time he's in the back, right? He's in the back, and it brings this up a lot in the novel. The light novel explains it in great detail how basically remember when the original team left him, right, to die?
Yep.
And this team ends up not doing that. They end up like, hey, you need to save yourself. They protect him, right? And he didn't expect that. He's like, what? Like, it's the first time that he's like, wait, you give a shit about me? And he hadn't really experienced that yet. So it's actually a major turning point in the story that I feel like is not really picked up on a lot. So I hope people pick up on that. But what cracks me up, right, is he's in the back with his fucking, looks like he's going camping. He's holding everyone's stuff. And he's just like, just no emotion. He's just watching the orcs show up and start whooping everyone's ass. It's like nobody was like they had to have looked over at some point and been like, where the fuck is he? Did he just leave? Like, and it's kind of like a couple of the characters, like after the fight, are like, he must think we're stupid that we didn't notice what he just did, and they just
Right,
kind of
the
like leave it
mage,
be.
yeah.
But I just thought it was funny that the whole time, and the fact that like after that, when it after that initial fight, and those like first like 20 orcs or whatever are finally dead, and they're going back to the portal to like get the fuck out of there. Jin-Woo is just in the back again, like nothing just fucking happened.
Mhm.
Just walking, like, yeah, you guys are doing great. Basically, your stuff's safe. Got your stuff back here.
Yep.
I just thought it was funny.
Yeah. And it was in it, and in the manhwa, they added a little bit of humor. A little bit of humor was written into it, whereas the anime made it more straight life or death with like that one. Even the part where the mage was like, does he really think we're all a joke? Did he really think not a single one of us was gonna notice that he totally turned invisible and took out all the orcs? And
And
like
they just said, you know what,
we're
let's
just
just
gonna
go
act like we
home.
didn't see that. But in the manhwa, it was a good chuckle moment, where at the anime it was more like almost dead serious. Like,
Yeah,
he really thinks
yeah.
we're a joke. But I'm
And
not
I'm
gonna say
hoping as the
anything.
anime goes on, they add a little bit more of that humor, because I think there's not a lot of complaints about the anime,
Mhm.
but one of the only like kind of little pieces, tiny complaints would be it's a little too serious, and there's not quite as much like goofy shit.
Mhm.
But I mean, they did add stuff like the mages cheering and stuff. But
Yeah.
they could add a little more. It's all right. But I'm pretty hyped, because what Jin-Woo does when he realizes, and that's why I think this is one of the most important parts of the story, because it's a turning point. Because like I said, he realizes that another party, another group of people that doesn't know him actually gives a crap about him. And they're like superstars. They're like A, B ranks, like people
Yeah.
that so far from his perception treat E ranks and D ranks like garbage, because that's his experience. When they get up there and the orcs they take their captain, and they start, throwing them all over the place with that. I forget what the ability was, but they're slamming them up and
Yeah.
down. And then Jin-Woo, he hates this. Like, he's mad, right? And he specifically waits. And by the way, in the novel, he verbalizes feeling guilty about that, about waiting for the captain to almost be killed. But he did it on purpose, because he knew that from his experience that the A rank captain was not about to just be like, yes, help us, go kill them, unless he was on his deathbed. And then he turned around to make a point to do the same thing back to them, because he wanted to make them feel fear.
Yep.
I just think that's hilarious.
Sung Jin Woo, you got to remember how he got his start and why he does some of the things that he does. Like, at times it seems like it's like, man, you could just end this. Like, why are you playing with your food? Like, but it's to make a point. He wants to test the extent of his limits. And since he's basically a necromancer by trade, a lot of, the mom always has to remind us and him that he's a necromancer mainly, because he was over here powerhousing and dual wielding daggers that he didn't even have. He had to remind himself. He's like, oh, what? I'm a magic class? Oops. Like, let me put points in magic then. To build his army, he needs to see the full extent of his opponents. And he can't see that if he just kills them immediately. Like, he's always looking to make himself and his army stronger. So he has to push his enemy to a point to see, like, are you worthy of my army? Are you worthy of my time? Because to this day, Eagers is his top dog. Like, Eagers is the top dog.
Yeah, another scene that always cracked me up is when he and again, guys, if you have not read this far into the manga or the manhwa, back off a little bit if you don't want to spoil this, because this is later on in the story. Okay, when he realizes that if his different soldiers can get to the rank of general, that he suspects they might be able to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And he summons Egress, and he acknowledges, like, I've had Egress the whole time. He's my top dog, you know? And he's like, Egress, are you able to speak or whatever? And then, like, Egress just doesn't even do it.
Doesn't even, just looks at him.
He stands there, and Jin-woo's like, all right, then. That's not. But I've been laughing all week, man. You know, about that damn mining
Oh, man, and the
with
memes.
the mining thing with from
Yeah, with Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson. The name escapes me right now. Yeah,
Zoolander. It's from
Zoolander.
Zoolander. But yeah, with him and that I have watched that so many times, and I was like, man, if they do a live action, that would be. I just want to say, like,
It has to be the
model
meme.
Jin-woo just modeling down down the freaking cave.
Speaking of live action, real quick, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm okay with it, and here's why. I'm okay with it because an American studio is not touching it. Okay. And I'm okay with it because it was made in Korea. It was written in Korea by a Korean author, and a Korean studio is doing it, and Korea delivers. Even on their like horror and thrillers that we get on Netflix that are kind of a little bit cheesy, they're still like well written and fun enough that you don't care.
It's you know, I agree, because even
So
their cheesy stuff is better than some of our A-class stuff.
yeah, so like I don't care anymore if a movie is $400 million and has the best actors, because it seems like that doesn't matter. No matter how much money they pump into it, they just give us crappy movies that aren't from the source. They change everything. They do what they want. So I'm feeling a bit more hopeful that if a Korean studio is the one doing it, that they'll do it justice. And even if it's a little cheesy, like I said, I won't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like, yeah, still a lovely movie. I think it would make a great movie. I think it's a doable movie to make as far as animes go. Because, you know, I forget, there's a terminology for it, but basically the more fantastical a world is, the harder it is to bring it to live action.
Yeah.
Which is what made One Piece so tricky.
Yeah.
And even that has some like controversy there.
Yeah.
But it's why so many animes fail, though. It's very difficult to bring something so fantastical to live action. On top of live action writers or writers in general thinking that they can write something better than the original author, but that's a whole other topic. Netflix really gets on my nerves with that one.
I will say it is extremely ambitious, because Solo Leveling has some points in there that even like with animation could get crazy, because I'm wondering, as a series, obviously the first season is going to be pretty easy. They're probably not even going to get into his shadow army deep enough in that first season.
I think I read, I believe it was a credible source. I don't remember where I read it from, unfortunately. Maybe
Trust
it's
me,
not
bro.
credible. But yeah, it's from trustmebro.com. I believe my understanding is 5 seasons and probably a movie.
5 seasons and probably a movie. So that movie might be Jeju Island?
Hey, Jeju Island could be a whole movie by itself, probably, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see. But I think like there's 8 volumes. Yeah, 8 volumes in the light novel, and then what's the manga, like 13?
Yeah, because it's like
13 or something.
200 chapters. The manhwa's story actually ends at chapter 179, and it goes up to, the epilogue is from 180 to 200.
Okay, so don't hate me for this, people. I'm using anime math. Okay, so I'm using anime manga math here. Demon Slayer, right, I think it's 201 chapters or something, and it's gonna get about 5 seasons total with a movie, something like that. So I think Solo Leveling, if my anime manga math is, but Demon Slayer also got their first season was like straight up 20, 24, 25 episodes.
Yeah, something that, yeah. And we have the fact that it's a shonen to thank for that. Like I don't want to say high performing, but we've been in the era now of like 12 episodes max, and then 2-3 year gaps.
Yeah, my thing with that is like, growing up, I think we got a lot of animes that did come out 50 episodes at a time, it seemed. But I think less animes were being made.
Yeah.
And the animes that were being made were on mangas that were actually, for the most part, already done, except for like Naruto and One Piece.
Dragon Ball Z.
The ones you see with insane fillers, those are the ones that obviously they weren't complete. They were just filling in the blanks, right? Until they caught up. But I think there's a positive side to this, right? Now they get anime in maybe a more organized fashion, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not getting anime.
Did you have
like
accent just now? More organized fashion?
Organized? I don't know. I'm tired. It's possible. Organized fashion. Gangster anime talk. But yeah, more organized, whatever. Sets of 12, 13. But then again, like, you think if they do that, they could at least like add in more shit from the mangas and like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm not
But
gonna lie.
It is nice to not have to tune in, like we were talking about before, back like a week ago. Growing up, it's like you tune in on a Saturday to finally watch that episode, and then it would leave you on a cliffhanger, and you're like, okay, and then you come back the next Saturday, and it started the entire arc over.
Yep.
So you had to rewatch the whole arc for 3 months.
Yep.
And then get back to that cliffhanger and then proceed. Or if it did come on after school every day, same thing, but out of order for no reason.
Yep.
Whatever.
Looking at you, Toonami.
Time to be. I love Toonami, but damn them for giving me random episodes.
I also think, I mean, and it's other reasons.
Yeah.
But, for me, one reason it was hard for me to get into One Piece, and I know Bern and I had talked about it, and he was like, yeah, Toonami was pretty bad about this, was how many times they restarted the Alabaster arc. And I got into it, and they started from the beginning, they got to Alabaster, and then they would just stop and start over again. And then stop.
You were being indoctrinated onto the cruel crimes that was Crocodile or Luffy's mom.
Okay.
You ever heard that theory?
No.
You ever heard that Crocodile's actually Luffy's mom?
No. You saw that made my brain just lock up.
I realized that. I'm like, oh, he doesn't know. Yeah, no. That's like a whole theory that's been going on forever. I mean, obviously it's ridiculous, but there's a lot of, I've seen stretches in animes before when it comes to theories, but One Piece takes the cake when it comes to stretches, because they will make the biggest stretch on a theory and be like, yeah, they're connected. You're like, no, there was a painting that kind of looked like that painting and that guy's shirt from 900 episodes. It's not that, what? Like,
I have seen like the skits and memes going around, like the entire One Piece community trying to decipher paintings in an episode.
A recent one was, I forget the chapter. It was like, I think it was like 900 something or whatever. But like someone's sunglasses. Fuck, what's his name? The guy with the ex-Navy admiral that can freeze shit. I can't believe I forgot his name.
Yeah.
This is why we should do podcasts after I've been awake for 20 hours. But like that.
I'm sorry, did you say you've been away for 20 years?
20 hours. What did I say?
I swear you said been away for 20 years. Maybe I'm tripping, guys. Did he say that's what happens when you've been away for 20 years?
I've had a very long night, guys, okay? A very long night. And here we are doing a recording at 9 a.m.
Oh my gosh. When I asked you before the episode, how awake are you? This is what I'm...
You want to know which version of tired I was in again.
Yeah, 20 years tired, apparently.
It's been 97 years. Apparently, there's 2 versions of me that's tired. One where I'm like, I can't talk. Mm-hmm. And the other one where I'm just a huge asshole. I don't understand it any more than you do.
But yeah, okay. So
but yeah, Solo Leveling, absolutely amazing. Read the light novel. It's actually really good. People are tripping.
Now, the only thing, and this is going to be my final thought on it, because we could talk about this for forever. And if you guys would love an extended episode on Solo Leveling where we probably start breaking down the episodes and breaking down the manga and the light novel more, let us know, and we will put up an episode over on our Patreon page, patreon.com/OSED Media, where we'll really get into depth about Solo Leveling because we both love it so much. The only thing that I didn't not like it, I just was wondering why they decided not to dive into it a little bit more, was when Jin-woo converted the hunter that tried to kill his party when they went against the Ice Elves. And in the manhwa, there was an actual whole fight between the elf, the hunter, and him. And all you pretty much saw the whole thing from the moment that hunter lost his shit and tried to kill Jin-woo, and him and Jin-woo going at it, to the moment Jin-woo killed him, and the whole process of arising him, and how arising another human into his army, what that's like. I saw that they glazed over that in the anime completely.
It made him feel some way. Like,
yeah.
he wasn't exactly proud of doing that to a human. It kind of made it look like he was like, that's what you get kind of attitude. But he actually felt, he didn't know how to feel about it, but he didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And that actually gets addressed later on Jeju Island.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it gets addressed they do it very well.
They do it very well.
Because later, as the story progresses and he is more popular and he lets himself be known, like he stops hiding, more like his humanity starts kind of returning to him a little bit. And y'all will, hopefully they showcase that in the anime, because some important things are going to happen and it's going to allow him to show a little bit of humanity towards other people.
Yeah.
And show that he still cares about other people.
And diving into where his powers come from, who's orchestrating everything, the system, the architect, and all that. So really, really looking forward to the future of Solo Leveling anime. But what are your guys' thoughts on it? Are you enjoying Solo Leveling? If you haven't started already, what are you doing? Go over and start Solo Leveling right now so you can take part in the conversation. We would love to hear from you guys, which you can leave your comments on our website, gzchopshoppodcast.com. There's a little voice note feature in the lower right-hand corner, little red microphone. You just click on that. You can submit your voice clips directly to the show, and we might play it on a future episode or on our Patreon episode, where we will dive more in depth into some of the topics we are covering. Also, guys, don't forget to sign up for the GZ Chop Shop Press Play newsletter, where you can get a nice little synopsis of the latest gaming and anime news, our blog articles, as well as everything that we have coming out in the future. So make sure to go and check that out. Once again, thank you for spending some of your time with us. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button wherever you are watching or listening to this podcast. Take care of yourself and each other, and we'll catch all of you wonderful people on the next episode.